What's it like being an engineer working on the UK Ventilator Challenge? Hey, I'm Hayley Loren and I'm an engineer speaking to other engineers who are helping the fight against coronavirus. So you've probably seen on the news already that ventilators was a huge concern for the government at the start of the pandemic. There was a risk that we wouldn't have enough ventilators and the NHS wouldn't be able to save lives. This is why the government started the UK Ventilator Challenge with 11 companies to help design and manufacture new ventilators. Being part of a challenge like this is no ordinary engineering project. The amount of dedication and effort and energy that all of these engineers have to put in is extreme. To find out what it's like working on the UK Ventilator Challenge, I spoke to Hugh, who is called Hugh What Where on Twitter if you want to find him, and he is working for one of the 11 companies.
So I've been lucky enough to be part of a company which has put a team forward for this, and it's been a unique experience. I'm trying to remember all the bits of it. It's moved so fast that there's so much I have to sort of process. At no point do you stop and think, oh man, this again. You sort of wake up every day and you're like, I'm tired, and you know, I can't believe I have to go back into work and do it again. But like you know you're going to be there. Like, how could you not?
The thing about working on a massive important project like this is that you're so focused on solving the problem that you get caught up in all of the day-to-day work that you kind of get sucked into this kind of focus area. And sometimes you can forget to almost step back and take a look at just how important everything is. And this is something that Hugh experienced.
We're all so close to it that it's hard to sort of see the big picture. You're not always looking at it from the point of view of like the overall pandemic. Most of the time we're trying to, think about it from an engineer's perspective. You've got, a mechanical problem in front of you, and you're trying to work with your team to try and solve it as quickly as possible. And, unusually the deadlines are a bit tighter than most on this one. So sometimes, you kind of forget about it and you're just there and just working really hard. And sometimes you sort of look up and think, why am I working so hard? And you're like, oh, because it really matters this time. It really matters.
Something that is apparent during this pandemic is that people are sacrificing themselves to help other people, whether it's nurses or doctors or delivery men. It's incredible the amount of hours and time and energy that people are dedicating. And when you do this, when you dedicate your life to something so much bigger, it can have physical and emotional impacts.
After one night at 4 a.m. where we were desperately dashing to meet a deadline, I woke up the next day and started to come down with shingles. So what it's taking out of my body is obviously my immune system is taking a hit from the stress because the chickenpox virus decided that this was the time to come back and really make my life difficult for me.
Usually, designing and manufacturing a ventilator would take up to 4 years or maybe even longer. But there isn't the luxury of time, and this is why the stress is so high.
The challenge is simply just the pace of what we're trying to develop. It's the hardest part, and it's the thing that's providing us the most problems, is the fact that we have to move as fast as we possibly can.
The Ventilator Challenge started with 11 companies, and from the outset the government made it perfectly clear that not all of these ventilators would actually be used. They wouldn't be continued to be supported. So not only do these engineers work incredibly hard, but they do it without even knowing whether their ventilator will be used. But in a situation like this, it just doesn't matter, because it's not about the individual companies. It's not about the individual 11 companies. It's about the teams coming together and working to try and save lives.
Yeah, I just sort of want to say to all of the other engineers working on projects like this, to all the other companies, like, thank you as well, because like, all the guys and women in my team are fantastic. I can only imagine how good all of the other engineers I don't get to meet and work with every day are. And if we all bring the best we can bring to the plate, then the best possible one will go forward.
A huge positive in all of this is that the number of ventilators that were needed was actually a lot lower than what was feared. So now the government is supporting 2 of the companies out of the 11. Sadly, the company that Hugh works for isn't one of the 2, but it's clear from the way that Hugh talks that it's not about that. It's about being part of a process that is working towards getting the best ventilator into hospitals the fastest. If you're one of these engineers, or if you're helping in another way, or even if you know somebody, let me know in the comments below. Please give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more incredible engineers, and do share the video because we need to be showcasing and showing off all of the amazing work that engineers are doing. See you next time for another epic engineer.